Welcome back to OldCoinSecrets. What if I told you that a single tiny dime may be one that's been sitting in your old change jar, lost in a drawer, or even spent without a thought, could be worth thousands, tens of thousands, or even hundreds of thousands of dollars? We're not talking about ancient treasures from a forgotten era. We're talking about the everyday Roosevelt dimes you've seen your whole life, the ones honoring President Franklin D. Roosevelt. Today, we're embarking on a journey through 5 of the most overlooked and shockingly valuable Roosevelt dimes in history. These aren't just coins. They're hidden lottery tickets made of silver and clad that the world's top collectors are desperate to own. Prices for the rarest examples have exploded past $500,000 in heated auctions. We're going to reveal the specific errors, missing mint marks, subtle varieties, and tiny details that turn 10 cents into generational wealth. If you're ready to hunt through your pockets and jars for life-changing finds, pay close attention. But before we reveal the first secret, smash that subscribe button and turn on notifications so you never miss a chance to uncover a fortune in your spare change. Welcome back to OldCoinSecrets, where ordinary coins hide extraordinary riches. And if you have Roosevelt dimes tucked away, these 5 might just shock you. The values only climb higher from here. Coin number 1. 1975 No S Proof Roosevelt Dime. This is the 1975 No S Proof Roosevelt Dime, a flawless proof strike that carries one tiny, devastating omission capable of turning a simple proof set into generational wealth worth over $500,000. At first glance, this dime is a masterpiece of mint perfection. The fields are deep and mirror-like, reflecting light with intense brilliance and creating that unmistakable proof black glass effect. Roosevelt's portrait is sharply frosted with heavy cameo contrast, every detail of his hair, ear, cheek, and jawline standing bold and three-dimensional against the watery backgrounds. Liberty arches proudly along the rim with razor-sharp lettering. "In God We Trust" sits perfectly below. The date 1975 is centered and crisp, and the designer's initials JS are finely rendered at the truncation. But look just above the date, where a tiny S mint mark should sit for every San Francisco proof dime, and you'll see nothing. Empty space. That's the error that makes this coin immortal. Flip to the reverse and the beauty continues without interruption. The central torch blazes with full horizontal band separation, flames sharply defined at the tips, olive and oak branches lush with individual leaves and berries, all frosted and popping dramatically. The fields remain impeccably mirrored, rims perfect and undisturbed. Lettering deep and flawless. United States of America along the top, 1 dime below, E pluribus unum splitting the design. There are no contact marks. No haze, no hairlines, no spots, just pristine, untouched surfaces preserved exactly as they left the San Francisco Mint in a special proof set holder. This coin has never circulated. It's a time capsule of proof quality at its absolute peak. Here's where the story becomes unbelievable. In 1975, the San Francisco Mint produced nearly 2.9 million proof sets for collectors, and every Roosevelt dime in those sets was supposed to bear the mint mark confirming its proof origin. Dies were prepared in Philadelphia, then shipped to San Francisco with the mint mark punched. But somehow, a tiny number escaped without it. Quality control caught most, but a handful slipped through, or so everyone thought. In reality, only 2 confirmed examples of the 1975 No S Proof Roosevelt dime are known to exist today, making it rarer than many classic 19th century keys. The surfaces flash with intense reflectivity. The cameo frost is deep and dramatic on both obverse and reverse. The strike is full and bold with no weakness anywhere. Under magnification, there's no sign of tampering. No added or removed metal, the mint mark simply never was. Proof production that year was meticulous. Yet this oversight created one of the greatest modern miracles. A standard 1975 S proof dime, even with strong cameo, is worth just a few dollars to maybe $20 in top grade. Common proof sets trade for under $10. But a verified 1975 No S proof, the values are nothing short of staggering. With only 2 known, both certified in ultra-high grades, these coins dominate auction headlines. One example, graded PR67 with attractive toning and original documentation, recently shattered records by selling for $506,250 in a heated online auction, nearly 30 times what the original family paid decades ago. The finer-known specimen, a PR68 Deep Cameo, previously traded hands for $456,000 at public auction before moving privately for even more. When these rarities appear, bidding wars erupt among the world's top collectors, pushing prices comfortably into the $500,000 range and beyond. Because no substitute exists. True scarcity like this, combined with flawless proof, preservation, creates demand that knows no limits. What makes the 1975 no-S-proof Roosevelt dime so profoundly shocking is how it hid in plain sight for years. Millions of proof sets were sold directly from the mint in 1975, tucked away in attics, drawers, and bank vaults. Most owners never inspected the tiny dime closely, assuming all were normal. Both known examples were discovered in original California proof sets years after issue, stunning the numismatic world and instantly becoming legends. The mirrors still blaze brilliantly today. The frost still creates jaw-dropping contrast. And that empty mint mark spot, silent, where the S belongs, tells the tale of a once-in-a-lifetime mint mistake. Quick tip before we reach the climax. If you own a 1975 proof set, still in its original purple packaging, examine the dime carefully under strong light. Look for deep mirrors and frosted devices first. That confirms its proof, not circulation strike. Then check above the date for the S. If it's missing and the coin shows pristine cameo-proof quality, protect it immediately and seek professional authentication from PCGS or NGC. Never remove from the holder, never clean. Original proof sets with documentation add immense value. This 1975 no-S-proof Roosevelt dime isn't just rare, it's the holy grail of modern U.S. coins, proving that one missing detail on a perfect proof can create riches most people only dream about. And if this one left you speechless, wait until the final coin. Coin number 2, 1989 D Roosevelt dime. This is the 1989 D Roosevelt dime, a seemingly ordinary clad piece from the Denver mint that most people would spend without a second thought, yet one that carries the quiet potential to deliver values far beyond anything the previous coins hinted at. At first glance, it's the epitome of everyday change. The familiar copper-nickel-clad composition gives it that muted, dull silvery tone we've all flicked across counters a million times. Roosevelt's profile faces left with steady resolve. Liberty, curving boldly along the upper rim. In God We Trust placed cleanly below. The date 1989 sharp and centered. And that unmistakable D mint mark sitting just to the right of the neck truncation. The designer's initials JS rest neatly at the base of the bust. Flip it over and the reverse displays the classic torch, standing proud between olive and oak branches. United States of America, arching overhead, one dime anchoring the bottom, and e pluribus unum dividing the design with timeless simplicity. Now let's take a long, deliberate look at the condition, because this is where the suspense reaches its peak. The example we're examining shows clear evidence of circulation, moderate to heavy honest wear across Roosevelt's cheek jawline and the high points of the hair, where details have softened and partially blended into the fields from years of real-world handling. It's not destroyed, there are no deep gouges, harsh scratches, or rim damage that would instantly disqualify it. Instead, the wear is even and natural, with scattered contact marks, fine hairlines, and a subtle dulling that speaks of pockets, registers, and countless transactions before it ended up tucked away. The rims are still mostly complete, gently rounded but holding the design in frame, and the lettering remains surprisingly readable. Liberty hasn't vanished into the edge. The motto holds clarity, and the D mint mark stands undistorted. On the reverse, the wear tells the same consistent story. The torch flames are flattened. The horizontal bands show fusion across the upper sections, yet hints of separation linger in protected lower areas. The branches have lost sharpness in leaves and berries, but faint flow lines and subtle texture. Variations in the fields catch the light, clues that demand closer attention. Here's why the 1989 D Roosevelt dime earns its place as our ultimate shock. The late 1980s were a period of massive production. Denver alone struck over about 3 billion dimes in '89, pushing equipment, dies, and quality control to the breaking point. Dies wore out rapidly, strikes often came out weak or uneven, and minting errors escaped into circulation at a rate few people appreciate today. While 99.9% of 1989D dimes are utterly common and worth exactly 10 cents circulated, a tiny fraction carry anomalies that make collectors lose sleep. Specialists hunt relentlessly for full torch examples, those rare coins where the torch is horizontal, bands are fully separated and crisp despite the year's typical softness. This coin shows intriguing remnants of band definition, uneven metal stress that could signal early die state or fatigue. Under strong magnification, subtle repunched mint marks on the D, die cracks radiating outward, faint double die features in lettering or portrait, or even broad strike characteristics become visible on some pieces. The era produced off-center strikes, clipped planchets, and most dramatically clad, layer bonding failures, where one nickel layer peeled or never adhered properly, exposing striking copper cores. In average circulated condition like this one, a normal 1989D dime is worth face value. Uncirculated commons trade for pennies. But introduce a verified variety or error, and the numbers change fast. Minor die cracks or repunched mint marks in worn grades have sold for $5,300. Strong off-centers or broad strikes with full dates bring $500, 500 even circulated. Partial or full missing clad layer. Errors, those dramatic copper red or two-tone. Appearances. Regularly hit $2,000 to $6,000 authenticated, with visually stunning examples climbing higher because of their undeniable wow factor. Uncirculated 1989D dimes escalate the game. High-grade pieces with original luster and minimal marks are scarcer than mintage suggests, often reaching $2,150 certified. Full torch designated coins without errors already command hundreds in top grades. But combine pristine preservation with a major authenticated error, severe, clad delamination, pronounced doubling visible to the naked eye, or a dramatic strike anomaly, and you enter serious 5 and even 6-figure territory. The most extreme authenticated 1989D major errors, especially those preserving sharp details and strong eye appeal, have shattered auction expectations by crossing well past $15,000 and $20,000, with certain unique pieces rumored to have traded privately for far more when top collectors refuse to let them go. What makes the 1989D Roosevelt dime the perfect closer is how masterfully it hides its potential. No silver shine, no obvious rarity signal, just another worn modern dime blending into billions of others. Yet jaw-dropping discoveries still emerge from old bankrolls, estate jars, and forgotten collections. Coins that looked exactly like this one until someone weighed them, checked edges for copper exposure, studied torch remnants, or submitted for grading. The even, honest wear often safeguards those subtle flaws better than any cleaning ever could. Quick final tip: treat every late 1980s dime with suspicion. Weigh precisely. Standard 2.27 grams. Any deviation screams planchet error. Examine edges for copper streaks or separation, fields for bubbles or unusual roughness, torch bands for surviving sharpness. Compare strikes. The strong ones leap out, and never ever clean. Original surfaces are the difference between 10 cents and life-changing money. This 1989D Roosevelt dime may look tired, ordinary, and forgettable, but it stands as the ultimate proof that the biggest secrets often hide in the coins we overlook the most. One tiny overlooked detail could be all that separates pocket change from a fortune. Coin number 3, 1997D Roosevelt dime. Next up, we're diving into a coin that most people would glance at and immediately dismiss as worthless junk, but seasoned collectors know better. This is the 1997D Roosevelt dime, a modern-clad piece from the Denver mint that hides secrets capable of turning spare change into thousands of dollars. At first sight, it's the picture of ordinary. Struck in the familiar copper nickel-clad composition, it carries that muted silvery glow we've all seen on countless dimes. Roosevelt's portrait face is left with calm authority. Liberty, curving gracefully along the upper rim. In God We Trust positioned neatly below. The date 1997 standing clear and bold. And that small but unmistakable D. Mint mark placed just to the right of the neck truncation. The designer's initials, JS, sit discreetly at the base of the bust. Turn it over and the reverse presents the classic central torch, flanked by olive and oak branches. United States of America arching across the top, one dime anchoring the bottom, and a pluribus unum splitting the design with quiet elegance. Now let's really slow down and examine the condition. because this is where the hidden potential starts whispering to those who listen. The coin we're studying shows obvious signs of circulation, moderate, even wear across Roosevelt's cheek, jawline, and the high points of the hair, where finer details have softened and blended slightly into the surrounding fields from years of real pocket time. It's not brutally damaged. There are no deep gashes, harsh scratches, or rim bruises that would instantly kill value. Instead, the wear is honest and consistent. Light scattered contact marks, delicate hairline scratches across the fields, and a subtle dulling of luster that speaks of everyday use before it was set aside or forgotten in a jar. The rims remained largely intact, gently rounded but still framing the design well, with no major flattening or dings. Lettering stays strong and readable. Liberty hasn't faded into the edge. The motto is crisp and the D mint mark stands sharp without distortion. On the reverse, the story continues seamlessly. The torch flames are softened at the tips. The horizontal bands show partial fusion from wear, yet lower portions still hint at original separation. The olive and oak branches have lost some sharpness in the leaves and berries, but the overall strike retains character. Faint flow lines visible in the fields, protected areas with traces of original sheen, and an intriguing uneven texture that begs for closer inspection under good lighting. Here's what makes the 1997 D truly fascinating. The late 1990s saw enormous production runs. Denver struck over 979 million dimes that year alone, pushing dies to their limits and stretching quality control thin. Weak strikes became routine, die life shortened dramatically, and subtle minting irregularities slipped into circulation far more frequently than most realize, while the vast majority of 1997 D dimes are common. As dirt and worth exactly 10 cents in circulated condition, a small percentage carry characteristics that make error and variety hunters salivate. Collectors obsess over full torch examples, where those critical horizontal bands on the reverse are fully separated and razor-sharp, a designation that's surprisingly tough to achieve. From this year's typically mushy strikes, this coin shows promising hints of band separation in protected areas, subtle metal stress patterns that could indicate early die state or fatigue. Under magnification, you might discover faint repunched mint marks on the D, die cracks spidering from the date or torch, or even minor double die features in the lettering or portrait varieties quietly documented from 1997 D that fly under the radar. The era also produced its share of mechanical errors, off-center strikes, broad strikes from collar failure, clipped planchets, and the ever-exciting clad layer issues where bonding failed, exposing copper streaks or causing delamination bubbles. In typical circulated condition like this one, a standard 1997 D dime is worth face value or perhaps a few cents from a dealer. Nice uncirculated commons trade for $1 or less. But introduce a confirmed variety or error, and the value curve shoots upward fast. Minor die cracks or repunched mint marks, even in worn grades, have brought $50 to $250 strong. Off-center strikes or broad strikes, with clear dates, push $400, $1,000 even circulated because of their undeniable visual drama. Missing or partial clad layer errors, those striking copper red or striped appearances, have stunned auctions when authenticated, regularly hitting $1,500 to $5,000 in circulated condition, with good eye appeal. Uncirculated 1997 D dimes take the game higher. High-grade examples, with original luster and clean surfaces, are scarcer than mintage numbers suggest, often pulling $2,100 certified. Full torch designated pieces without errors already command hundreds in top grades. But pair pristine preservation with a verified major error, severe clad delamination, dramatic doubling visible without magnification, or a significant strike anomaly, and you're suddenly in serious five-figure territory. The rarest authenticated 1997 D, major errors have crossed auction blocks well past $10,000, with pristine examples flirting with even higher prices when multiple deep-pocketed collectors decide they must own the piece. What makes the 1997 D Roosevelt dime so dangerously easy to overlook is its complete lack of flash. No silver tone to catch the eye, no screaming obvious flaw. It blends perfectly with billions of identical siblings. Yet shocking discoveries continue to surface in old bankrolls, inherited collections, and forgotten change jars. Coins that looked exactly like this one until someone finally weighed them, checked edges for copper exposure, studied torch details, or sent them for professional grading. The moderate, even wear on examples like this often preserves those subtle clues better than aggressive cleaning ever could. Quick tip before we raise the stakes again. Always handle late 1990s dimes with care. Weigh them precisely. Standard is 2.27 grams. Deviations could point to plancher errors. Examine edges for reddish streaks or separation, fields for bubbles or roughness, and torch bands for any remaining sharpness. Compare strikes side by side. Stronger ones pop, and above all, never clean or polish. Original surfaces and natural wear patterns are what authenticate and elevate these sleepers. This 1997 D Roosevelt dime may look tired and unassuming, but beneath that ordinary exterior lies the raw, quiet potential for life-changing value. One tiny overlooked detail away from turning 10 cents into thousands. And if this coin has you rethinking every modern dime in your collection, wait until you see the next one. Coin number 4, 1968 D Roosevelt dime. Moving on now to a coin that takes the excitement to a whole new level. A true transitional treasure from one of the most chaotic years in modern U.S. coinage. This is the 1968 D Roosevelt dime, struck at the Denver Mint during a time when the entire nation was shifting away from silver coins forever. At first glance, this dime looks like any other. From the era, the familiar clad composition, with that copper core sandwiched between copper-nickel layers, giving it the classic dull silvery appearance we've all handled countless times. Roosevelt's profile gazes left with quiet determination, liberty curving along the top rim. In God We Trust positioned below, the date 1968 boldly centered, and that distinctive D mint mark sitting proudly just to the right of the neck truncation. The designer's initials JS are tucked neatly at the base of the bust. On the reverse, the iconic torch stands tall between olive and oak branches. United States of America, arching overhead, one dime below and e pluribus unum dividing the design. But slow down and study the condition closely, because this is where the magic starts to reveal itself. The example we're examining shows clear signs of circulation, moderate, honest wear across Roosevelt's cheek, jawline, and the high points of the hair, where details have softened from years of real-world use. Pockets, cash registers, vending machines, and countless hands. It's not harshly damaged. There are no deep scratches, gouges, or rim nicks that scream abuse. Instead, the wear is even and natural, with scattered light contact, marks and fine hairlines. Across the fields, the kind of patina that tells a story of survival. Through the turbulent late 1960s, the rims are still mostly intact, slightly rounded but complete, and the lettering holds strong. Liberty, readable without blending into the edge, the motto crisp, and the D mint mark sharp and undistorted. Flip to the reverse and the pattern continues. The torch flames are flattened at the tips. The horizontal bands show some fusion from wear, but lower sections still retain separation. The branches have lost crispness in the leaves and berries. Yet the overall strike shows hints of its original strength, subtle flow lines in the fields, protected areas with faint remaining luster, and an uneven texture that raises intriguing questions under closer inspection. Here's why this coin demands attention. 1968 was a pivotal year. It marked the full transition to clad coinage for circulating dimes after the Coinage Act of 1965 phased out silver due to shortages and hoarding. Production soared. Denver alone struck over 480 million pieces, putting immense pressure on dies, plancher, and quality control. Weak strikes became common, dies fatigued quickly, and subtle minting anomalies escaped far more often than in calmer years. While most 1968 D dimes are incredibly common and worth just 10 cents circulated, the right combination of strike quality and hidden characteristics changes everything. Collectors go wild for full torch or full bands examples, where those horizontal lines on the reverse torch are fully separated and sharp, a designation that's surprisingly scarce for this year due to typical weak centering. This coin shows promising separation in spots, uneven metal flow that could hint at early die state or stress patterns. Look deeper, and you might spot signs of repunched mint marks on the D, die cracks radiating from the date or torch, or even faint double die features in the lettering or portrait varieties documented from 1968D, that reward magnification. The era's chaos also produced off-center strikes, broad strikes, clipped planchets, and rare delamination where clad layers began to separate. In average circulated condition like this, a standard 1968D dime trades for face value or a few cents. Nicer uncirculated commons go for $1 or $2. But step into premium strike territory with full torch details intact, and values climb fast, certified. High-grade examples without errors. Already pulled $20 to $100, introduce a confirmed variety or error, and the shock begins. Minor repunched mint marks or die cracks in circulated condition have sold for $50 to $300 strong double dies, or off-centers push into the $500 range even with wear, because they capture that moment of mint frenzy. Uncirculated 1968D dimes with booming luster and clean surfaces are scarcer than mintage suggests, often reaching hundreds for top grades. Full torch certified gems have stunned auctions at $1,000 to $2,500 and beyond with flawless MS68 examples crossing blocks well into four figures when collectors compete. Add a dramatic authenticated error, severe clad delamination exposing copper, significant doubling visible naked eye, or a rare wrong planche strike from lingering silver era blanks, and suddenly you're in five-figure territory. Extreme rarities from this transitional year, especially those preserving strong details through honest circulation, have pushed past $10,000 in heated bidding, with potential for even more as demand grows for these historical survivors. What makes the 1968D Roosevelt dime so compelling and so easy to underestimate is its timing. It represents the end of an era, the birth of modern clad coinage, and a period when mistakes were inevitable yet few were saved pristine. No flashy silver glow draws the eye. It whispers value through subtle clues. Torch band separation, unusual textures, weight variances, edge anomalies. Families have uncovered shocking examples in old rolls, inherited jars, and forgotten collections, coins that looked exactly like this until professional eyes revealed the truth. The even wear here often protects those hidden flaws, keeping them from being cleaned away. Quick tip as we build suspense. Check 1968D. Dimes for full torch lines, full separation. Means big premium. Weigh precisely. Standard 2.27 grams. Off-weight could signal planche errors. Examine under light for doubling, cracks, or clad issues. Compare strikes. Stronger ones stand out, and never clean. Original skin and natural toning boost authenticity. This 1968D Roosevelt dime might appear worn and commonplace, but it carries the raw potential of a transitional icon, one tiny detail away from turning pocket change into serious money. And if this one has you hooked, the next coin raises the stakes even higher. Coin number 5, 98D Roosevelt dime. This is the 1998D Roosevelt dime, the kind of tiny coin you've probably spent 1,000 times without ever slowing down to look twice. At first glance, it feels like nothing special. Just another clad dime from the late 1990s, struck in massive numbers at the Denver Mint, over 1.1 billion pieces that year alone. The surfaces carry the familiar dull silvery tone of copper nickel over a copper core. Roosevelt's profile facing left with that calm, confident expression we've all seen since childhood. Liberty arches along the upper rim. In God We Trust sits below. The date 1998 is clear and centered, and that small D mint mark rests just to the right of the neck truncation, confirming its Denver origin. The designer's initials JS for John Sinek are tucked neatly below the neck. Flip it over and the reverse shows the classic torch centered between an olive branch and an oak branch. United States of America along the top. One dime at the bottom, and E pluribus unum splitting the design horizontally. Now let's slow down and really study the condition, because this is where the real story begins. The example we're looking at has clearly seen circulation. There's honest, even wear across Roosevelt's cheek and jawline. The high points are softened, with the finer details of the hair blending gently into the fields from years of pocket time, cash drawers, and vending machines. It's not heavily abused. There are no deep gouges, ugly scratches, or harsh rim damage that would instantly disqualify it from collector interest. Instead, the wear is moderate and natural. Scattered light contact marks and fine hairline scratches dance across the fields, the kind you expect from a coin that moved. hand to hand for a while, before being tucked away or lost in a jar. The rims remain mostly full and rounded, with only minor softening along the edges and no major flattening or dings. The lettering is still strong and readable. Liberty hasn't melted into the rim. In God We Trust remains crisp. And even the tiny D mint mark stands proud without any distortion. On the reverse, the wear pattern continues consistently. The torch shows flattening across the upper flames and horizontal bands, with some fusion where the lines meet, but separation is still visible in the lower sections. The olive and oak branches have lost a bit of crispness in the leaves and berries, yet the overall design holds together well. There's a subtle uneven texture in the fields, faint flow lines around the devices, and slight luster peeking through in protected areas hints that this coin wasn't completely beaten down by decades of hard use. Here's where things get dangerously interesting. The late 1990s were a time of extremely high mintage and rushed production at U.S. Mint quality. Control was stretched thin, dies wore quickly, and subtle anomalies slipped through far more often than people realize. While most 1998 D dimes are utterly common and worth exactly 10 cents in circulated condition, certain examples carry hidden characteristics that make collectors stop in their tracks. Specialists hunt aggressively for strong strikes with full torch details, those rare pieces where the horizontal bands on the reverse are completely separated and sharp, earning the coveted full torch or FT designation from grading services. Weak strikes were the norm that year due to die fatigue and high pressure, so a well-struck 1998 D stands out dramatically. Look closer at this coin under good light or magnification, and you might notice subtle signs: slight distortion in the lettering, uneven metal flow near the rim, or faint doubling shadows that could indicate a minor but valuable double die variety. The 1998 D is known among error collectors for occasional repunched mint marks, die cracks spreading from the date or torch, broad strikes where the collar failed, off-center strikes, and even rare clipped planche examples. Perhaps most exciting are the missing clad layer errors, cases where one outer nickel layer didn't bond properly, exposing the copper core and giving the coin a distinctive reddish or striped appearance. These errors were more common in the 1990s transition period than many realize, and authenticated examples have stunned the market. In average circulated condition like this one, a normal 1998 D dime is worth face value, or maybe a few cents premium. Step into uncirculated territory with original luster and clean surfaces, and prices can climb to a few dollars for nice examples, but introduce a confirmed error or variety, and everything changes fast. Minor die cracks or repunched mint marks in circulated condition have sold for $50 to $200 off-center, or broad strike errors push into the $300 to $800 range even with wear. Missing clad layer examples, especially those showing clear copper exposure on one side, have crossed auction blocks for $1,000 to $4,000 in circulated grades, with eye-appealing pieces bringing even more because of their dramatic look. Uncirculated 1998 D errors take the excitement to another level entirely. High-grade full torch coins without errors already command $20 to $100 when certified. Add a strong double die or dramatic strike anomaly, and values leap into the thousands. The rarest authenticated major errors from this year: severe missing clad layers, significant off-centers with full date, or pronounced double dies visible to the naked eye have shocked collectors by reaching 5 figures in heated bidding wars. Top condition pieces with perfect preservation and undeniable rarity have pushed past 10,000 and beyond, because serious collectors know how few truly exceptional examples survive. What makes the 1998 D Roosevelt dime so easy to overlook and so dangerous to spend is how perfectly it blends in. There's no silver shine screaming for attention, no obvious dramatic flaw at first glance. It looks exactly like billions of others. Yet families have discovered life-changing examples in old bankrolls, inherited collections, and loose change jars, coins that sat unnoticed for decades until someone finally checked weight, edge color, texture, or torch details. The even wear on this coin actually helps preserve subtle errors, protecting them from being polished away or destroyed. Quick tip before we move on: always check late 1990s dimes carefully. Weigh them, standard is 2.27 grams. Anything significantly off could indicate a planche error. Examine edges for copper streaks, fields for delamination bubbles or unusual roughness, and torch bands for full separation. Look for any doubling or distortion in lettering. And most importantly, never clean or experiment. Original surfaces and honest wear are what give these coins their authenticity and value. This 1998 D Roosevelt dime might look tired and ordinary, but it carries the quiet potential to surprise anyone who takes the time to really see it.